from Dynamic Health Stuff. Today I am here again with another episode of OET reading. Especially I'll be focusing on Part C because I know that for many of the candidates, Part C is a nightmare. Before starting with that, I would like to talk to you a few things regarding Dynamic Health Stuff. Now you must have a very clear idea about Dynamic Health Stuff because you must have heard a lot of things, and many of your friends will be learning OET with us, IELTS with us. Okay, for those who have not heard much about this, I'm here with some information regarding our Dynamic Health Stuff. See, you can understand that this is one of the biggest and ultimate virtual learning partner for those who aspire to go to an English-speaking country. Now, Dynamic is leading the campaign by increasing the success rate to 98%. It was in 2020, and then we are holding the same throughout these years. You know that here we have unlimited practice hours and the classes are 100% interactive. And you know, here we have online training only, but it is always as beneficial, or even I can say it is more effective than any offline training sessions. We have unlimited mock tests, and you must be knowing that the trainers we have are OET experts, and we have e-capsules which are very interactive, and the candidates, before they go for exams, they will have rapid revision sessions. Throughout their learning in Dynamic, they have mock exams on every week, and they will have enough assignments which they will be completing. Now, the legacy continues in 2021 and 22 also with a lot of soft skill sessions. We have LMS 24/7, then live shows every week, you can see that. Then you have a lot of community support. Now, let me start with OET reading. I'll be just giving you a brief orientation regarding OET reading, then I'll be focusing more on OET reading Part C. And now, the first and foremost thing I would like to remind you about reading is this. Reading is the key to learning. Whichever profession, whatever job you are doing, whichever profession you are following, reading will be the key. Reading has been the key to learning, and it will be the key to learning. Now, let me give you an overview about OET reading. As most of you must be aware, OET reading is common to all the health professionals, and the total duration is 1 hour. There are 3 parts, and that they are Part A, B, and C. And for Part A, you will get 15 minutes to complete, and for Part B and C together, you get 45 minutes. And there are 42 questions in total. Then this is a just brief explanation regarding each parts. In Part A, there will be 4 texts, and which you need to read very fast. And here you will be reading to get some specific information. Here you will be just glance quickly. You need not read the entire passage. There will be total 20 questions which you need to complete in 15 minutes. Then in part B, there are 6 short extracts. And with each extract, there will be 1 question, 3 options. Here, you will be reading each extract to just get gist, purpose, or overall idea. Then these questions will be MCQ. That is, each question carries 3 options. So first you will be reading the question, then you will read the passage, then you can select the correct option. Then coming to part C, that is for most of you, it's a very difficult part because here you need to understand in detail about each paragraph to get the correct answer. Here there will be 2 long passages. You will be reading the passages for detailed information. There are different types of questions also. I'll tell you the types of questions. And with each extract, there are 8 questions. And with each question, 4 options. Now, let me talk to you in detail about part C. First, let us see the types of questions you can come across in part C. Number 1, main idea questions. Number 2, vocabulary questions. Number 3, reference questions. Number 4, writer's opinion question. And number 5, writer's attitude question. So by looking at these itself, you can understand that here you need to, when you read the paragraph, you need to get the main idea or what is the summary of a paragraph. Then there will be some words given, or from the text, you need to get the meaning of a word from the context. Then reference question, here also, what do the writer refer by using a pronoun? Then writer's opinion, what is the opinion of the writer and what is the attitude of the writer? Now, let us move on to each type of questions so that you will get a clear idea about each one. Number 1, main idea questions. Now, let us see a sample question which asks the main idea of a particular paragraph. Here, the question is, what does the research mentioned in paragraph 4 show? So here, I would like to remind you, in part C, you will see 2 long passages. And these passages, these extracts may be taken from some journal articles. And here, when you get a passage, I'll show you that. See, this is just 1 paragraph from the passage, and there may be around 7 to 8 paragraphs. Usually it's around 800 words in each extract. Here, first thing what you can do is, you can just number the paragraphs so that when you come back question, when you come back, you will not be confused which paragraph you need to look for the answer. Then also another thing, you can see that each questions will be given in the order. Usually the first question will be related to the first paragraph, second question is related to the second paragraph, and sometimes there may be more than 1 question from 1 paragraph, or sometimes there may not be any question from a paragraph. So what you can do is, first you can just number the paragraphs, then you can go to the questions. You can start question, you can crack questions in the order, And again, you need not stick to one paragraph or one question. If you are not getting answer for a question, you can just skip it, go to the next question. Then you may get better idea about the previous question when you read the next paragraph. So in that case, you can come back to the previous question and you can answer that question also. So do not waste time looking at one question and one paragraph. That is very much important. Here you can see the question was about an overall idea or the main idea of the paragraph. What does the research mentioned in paragraph 4 show? So here, read the question, then go to the paragraph and read the paragraph. The question is about the research mentioned in the paragraph. Here you can read the paragraph. A number of US studies have shown the prevalence of noise-induced hearing loss in teenagers is increasing. So that is an important information which is given. And the first sentence of a paragraph will give you some clue about the overall idea of the paragraph. A number of US studies have shown the prevalence of noise-induced hearing loss in teenagers is increasing. That is an important information. And reports from Australia have suggested there is an increased prevalence of noise-induced hearing loss. Again, the second sentence also, or the next part, the second part of the sentence also talks about hearing loss in teenagers, hearing loss in young adults who use personal music players. This is a worrying trend, considering the widespread usage of these devices. Even a slight hearing loss can negatively affect a child's language development and academic achievement. This is of significant concern, considering some studies have reported a 70% increased risk of hearing loss associated with the use of personal music players in primary school age children. So here you can see that in 3 places it is discussing or it is explained about hearing loss. Hearing loss in teenagers is increasing, hearing loss in adults, in young adults. Okay, and that also related to the studies. A number of US studies have shown. Then here also this is of significant concern. Some studies have reported a 70% increased risk of hearing loss. So now when you go to the options, you can see that the research is mentioning about hearing loss. So here the first option is about a higher prevalence of personal music devices. This you can eliminate very easily. Then next question is the negative impact of device. The negative impact of device-related hearing loss on academic and linguistic skills. So here again, you know that the research is about the number of people, number of children, number of young adults affected with the hearing loss. So the third option, an increasing number of teens and young adults suffering noise-related hearing loss. So this can be a possible answer. Again, you can read the fourth option, the widespread trend of increased use of personal music devices. So here, option number A and D are related with personal music devices, and B and C are about hearing loss, but this is more specific of academic and linguistic skills, and this mentions about the increasing number of teens and young adults suffering noise-related hearing loss, and this is the correct answer. Okay, and here you can see when you go through the passage again, you can see that the passage is mainly talking about hearing loss. Hearing loss and the reasons because of who use personal music players. So that is how you can come to a conclusion. Now, next is another type, that is vocabulary question. Again, I'll show you another example for a vocabulary question. Here, the word ubiquitous in paragraph 1 suggests that use of personal media players is. So here again, we can go to the passage which includes the word ubiquitous. Most of us have experienced walking past someone and being able to hear every sound coming from their headphones. Here again, remember one thing, the first sentence of a paragraph will give you some clue about the content. And here, most of us have experienced walking past someone and being able to hear every sound coming from their headphones. So that is about walking past someone and hearing sound. Most of us have experienced. If you have ever wondered whether this could be damaging their hearing, the answer is yes. In the past, noise-induced hearing loss typically affected industrial workers due to prolonged exposure to excessive levels of noise with a limited or non-existent protective equipment. So this is a past thing. And here you can see that this is given in past. That also is very important. When you read a paragraph or when you read a sentence, you need to understand whether the paragraph or the sentence is talking about something which happened in the past or something which started in the past and it was going on for a period of time, or nothing is mentioned about the past and something is going on in the present. Then now the next sentence, there are now strict limits on occupational noise exposure and many medical legal claims have been filed as a result of regulation. The ubiquitous use of personal music players has, however, radically increased our recreational noise exposure, and research suggests there may be some cause for concern. The ubiquitous use of personal music players, and you are asked to find out the meaning of the word ubiquitous. So you need to improve, you need to have a better vocabulary to get the meaning of such words. And if you do not know the exact meaning of the word, from the context, you can try to get the meaning. Here, again, come back to the first sentence. Most of us have experienced walking past someone and being able to hear every sound coming from their headphones. There are no strict limits on occupational noise exposure. Then the ubiquitous use of personal music players, so something which is seen or heard or very common or very commonly used, or it is everywhere. Now, let us go back to the options. The word ubiquitous, is it getting out of control? Radically increasing, actually radically increasing, that is given again, however, radically increased our recreational noise exposure. Our recreational noise exposure has radically increased. So that cannot be the answer. The ubiquitous use, so definitely it will be an adjective. So it is not getting out of control. It is not radically increasing. It's not a noun. A serious health risk is a noun. So here, this is an adjective, extremely common. And now if you have any doubt, you can just replace that word with this. The extremely common use of personal music players has radically increased our recreational noise exposure. and research suggests there may be some cause of concern. So this is our answer, extremely common. Again, if you think that getting out of control can be the answer, the getting out of control use of. So that is not, that word does not match this context. So this way also you can try to confirm your answer. Now, next type is reference questions. I'll show you a sample. What does the word there in paragraph 3 refer to? So here you can see that this there, this word is the possessive pronoun. It's a pronoun, first of all, and it is related with the there. Okay, so who is mentioned by this pronoun there in the paragraph? For that, you need to read the paragraph. When sounds enter our ear, they set in motion tiny frequency-specific hair cells within the cochlea, our hearing organ, which initiate the neural impulses which are perceived by us as sounds. Exposure to high levels of noise causes excessive wear and tear, leading to their damage. So here, this sentence says that exposure to high levels of noise causes excessive wear and tear, leading to destruction, damage or destruction of something. Their damage or destruction. Destruction or damage or destruction of what? For that, you need to read the previous sentence and try to find out what the previous sentence is talking about. And usually, you know that a pronoun is used in place of a noun. Okay, so here you need to understand, you need to find out the subject of this previous sentence. And that word is replaced by this pronoun there. Here, read the sentence again. When sounds enter our ear, they set in, that is, the sounds set in motion tiny frequency-specific hair cells within the cochlea, our hearing organ. So, this tiny frequency-specific hair cells are the hearing organ. So, that is an explanation is given here with a comma before and after that term, which initiate. So the motion, they set in motion, which initiate the neural impulses, which are perceived by us as sound. So here you can see that this sentence is talking about these tiny frequency-specific hair cells, which are the hearing organ. And exposure to high levels of noise causes excessive wear and tear, leading to the damage or destruction of these tiny frequency-specific hair cells or the hearing organ. Now, read the options. So, you know that it is not at all talking about smartphones and music players because nothing was mentioned in that first sentence about smartphones or music players. Then people with the hearing loss, so that also is not mentioned in the previous sentence. Then neural impulses entering our ear. So neural impulses are not destructed or damaged, and here tiny hair cells in the ear or those are the hearing organ, and that was mentioned with this pronoun. So here tiny hair cells in the ear is the correct answer. Now, let us move on to the fourth type of questions, that is writer's opinion question. And here, when you read any paragraph, you need to understand the facts, or the writer will be mentioning certain facts which you or the writer already knows, and based on the known information, the writer will be explaining his or her opinion. So you should be able to identify which are the facts and which are the opinion of the author. So here the question is, in paragraph 5, the writer suggests that. So what is the suggestion of the author or the writer in paragraph 5? Now, let us read the paragraph 5. Some smartphones and personal music players can reach up to 115 decibels, which is roughly equivalent to the sound of a chainsaw. So that is a fact. Some smartphones and personal music players can reach up to 115 decibels, which is roughly equivalent to the sound of a chainsaw. Generally, 85 decibels and above is considered the level where noise exposure can cause permanent damage. That is again another fact. Listening at this level for approximately 8 hours is likely to result in permanent hearing loss. It is a possibility. Suggestion. What's more, as the volume increases, the amount of time needed to cause permanent damage decreases. At 115 decibels, it can take less than a minute before permanent damage is done to your hearing. So here you need to understand the overall idea. Here the entire passage is mentioning the author's opinion along with it. So the first and second sentence can be considered as facts. Okay, and the author is explaining his opinion also. Listening at this level for approximately 8 hours. So here the first sentence says some smartphones and personal music players can reach up to 115 decibels. Generally, 85 decibels and above is considered the level where noise exposure can cause permanent damage. So definitely you can understand this 115 decibel is definitely going to cause permanent damage. Listening at this level for approximately 8 hours is likely to result in permanent. So listening at the 85 decibel is for 8 hours is likely, possibly, to result in permanent hearing loss. What's more, so here, what else to say? As the volume increases, the amount of time needed to cause permanent damage decreases. At 115 decibels, it can take less than a minute before permanent damage is done to your hearing. Now, let's read the options. The writer suggests that chainsaws and smartphones are negatively impacting the public's hearing. Is it written like that? It is written 115 decibel is roughly equivalent to the sound of a chainsaw. But if you just listen to the chainsaw sound, that is not going to damage the ear. It says we usually use smartphones and personal music players. And if we are using it for a longer time, so that option is wrong. Are negatively impacting. Again, the question is about suggestion. So here, this is not just a suggestion. It is written as a fact, but this fact is not given in the extract. Listening to music on a smartphone will damage your hearing. Again, that sentence also is wrong because again it is written if you are listening for longer time. 85 decibel, generally 85 decibel and above is considered can cause permanent damage. And if you are listening for more than 8 hours or approximately 8 hours is likely to result in permanent hearing loss. Okay, so just listening to a smartphone for some time will not cause damage to your hearing. That is wrong. Smartphones are designed to play music at a dangerously high volume. Again, that is correct because here it is written, here it is written that 85 decibel and above is considered as causing a permanent damage. So here some smartphones and personal music players can reach up to 115 decibel. So definitely you can see that smartphones are designed to play music at a dangerously high volumes. And this option, more rules should be in place to control how loud smartphones can go. Actually, that is not written in that paragraph. So this is the answer. Now, let us move on to the last type of questions you can come across in paragraph in part C, that is writer's attitude question. Here you should be a bit more careful because here till now, main idea, vocabulary, reference, and opinion questions. If you read the paragraph, you can get it in black and white. But usually the attitude will not be clearly written. In most of the time, you need to, when you read the paragraph, you need to understand it. You need to acquire what the writer's attitude is. Now, let us see an example. What is the writer's attitude to the lack of manufacturing guidelines for music devices in Australia? So you need to understand the question. What is the writer's attitude to the lack of manufacturing guidelines for music devices in Australia? So there is lack of manufacturing guidelines for music devices in Australia. And you are asked to find out the attitude of the writer. Now, let us read the passage. Currently, there are no maximum volume limits for the manufacturers of personal music players in Australia. That is a fact. There are no maximum volume limits for the manufacturers of personal music players in Australia. This is in stark contrast to Europe, where action has been taken after it was estimated that 50 and 100 million Europeans were at the risk of noise-induced hearing loss due to personal music players. Since 2009, the European Union has provided guidance to limit both the output and usage time of these devices. Considering the impact of hearing loss on individuals and its cost to society, it is unclear why Australia has not adopted similar guidelines. Okay, so our question, why Australia has not led or has not adopted a guideline or some guidelines to control the maximum volume limits? Or here, when you read, you can see that. Let us just read the question again. What is the writer's attitude to the lack of manufacturing guidelines for music devices in Australia? So that means there is lack of manufacturing guidelines for music devices in Australia. And why? What does the author think of that? What is the author's or the writer's attitude? So here it is clearly written, considering the impact of hearing loss on individuals and its cost to society, it is unclear. It is unclear why Australia has not adopted similar guidelines. Some smartphones and music players allow you to set your own maximum volume limits. limiting the output to 85 decibels is a great idea. If you are a regular user and value preserving your hearing, taking breaks to avoid continued noise exposure will also help reduce your risk of damaging your hearing. So just for further idea, you can read that. But here you can see the attitude. It is unclear why Australia has not adopted similar guidelines. So now let us read the options. See, why I was reading the entire paragraph, because it will help you to eliminate wrong option source. There is no clear reason why Australia has not created guidelines. It is unclear why Australia has not adopted similar guidelines. So actually here, this is the correct answer. And what about other options? The implementation of guidelines in Australia is unnecessary. No, it is really necessary. In the same sentence, it is written, considering the cost and considering the damage it causes. It is necessary, but we don't know, but the author does not know why it is, why Australia has not adopted similar guidelines. Then guidelines probably won't be created. That is not given. It will be difficult to create guidelines. That also is not given, and this is the correct answer. No. So these are the usual types of questions you will be getting in reading part C. And for this, to get clear understanding, you need to read more, you need to get more vocabulary, you need to improve your vocabulary, you need to improve your speed. And for that, we welcome all of you for the wonderful training hours. Here we have flexible timings. You can have classes in the morning, afternoon, evening, night, depending upon your availability, your comfort. Because most of the candidates will be working. Some of you may have duty in the morning or in the evening. Maybe some are working in the daytime or some are working at night. So depending upon your availability, you can choose your timing. Then we will have 24/7 virtual session, mock tests, unlimited, and even after completing your regular sessions, you will have practice sessions. That is really useful, really helpful to improve your skills. You can see, you can meet many superheroes and you can be the next superhero. And we have some free gifts for you. If you're joining early, there's a 10% off, so that you can avail if you join as soon as possible before the next batch sessions start. Hope today's session was really useful, and you can practice, you can keep on practicing. Those who have appeared OET exam several times, don't lose hope, don't be disheartened, keep on practicing. Thank you for listening, and I'll be back again with another session. Till then, thank you and good evening.